I get it. Right now, the pressure probably feels huge. The stress of these exams can feel totally overwhelming, kind of like you're standing on the edge of a cliff looking down. But you know what? Today, we're not going to focus on the fall. We're going to talk about how to fly. We're going to help you turn that fear into your very first flight. I want to kick things off with this really powerful German quote. It's the perfect mindset for moments just like this one. It translates to, always forward, never backward. Think about that. Once you've started moving towards your goal, you just have to keep your eyes ahead. Whatever happened in the past, maybe a study session you missed or a topic that just didn't click, you've got to leave it behind. From here on out, the only direction is forward. That's a totally fair question, right? I mean, when you're nervous or frustrated, the idea of enjoying it sounds, well, impossible. It actually reminds me of this great story about the world chess champion, Magnus Carlsen. Someone asked him for advice for this 16-year-old kid who was competing for the world title. I mean, can you imagine the pressure? And Carlsen's advice was just that simple. Find a way to enjoy it. His whole point was that this journey, this championship, or in your case, this exam, it's a really unique moment in your life. It's not something you do every day. So yeah, in the middle of all that stress, you have to find some way to just embrace the experience. Because if you can't enjoy the journey, what's the point of it all? Okay, so let's talk about the first tool for this journey, faith. And honestly, there's no better story to show its incredible power than the one about a farmer named Lencho. So picture this. Lencho is a super hardworking guy, strong as an ox. But one day, a massive hailstorm just completely wipes out his entire field of corn. Everything he worked for, gone. Facing starvation, he turns to the only hope he has left. And he does something pretty incredible. He literally writes a letter to God asking for 100 pesos to get back on his feet. So this letter actually arrives at the post office. At first, the postmaster just has a good laugh. I mean, who wouldn't? But then he's so deeply moved by Lencho's absolute rock-solid faith. He decides he just can't let that kind of faith be broken. So he gives up part of his own salary and collects money from his employees, and he manages to scrape together 70 pesos to send to Lencho. And what happens next is a perfect example of irony, which, by the way, is a concept that pops up a lot on exams. Irony is all about that gap, that contrast between what you expect to happen and what actually does. You know, like a fire station burning down or a pilot who's afraid of heights. And here is where the story's brilliant irony really shines. When Lencho gets the envelope and finds only 70 pesos, he doesn't doubt the miracle for a second. Nope, he's just furious about the missing money. He immediately writes another letter complaining that the post office employees must have stolen the other 30 pesos. He calls the very people who helped him a bunch of crooks. So here's the takeaway, and it's a big one. Lencho's amazing faith gave him hope when he had absolutely none. But that exact same faith also kind of blinded him. He was so focused on this idea of a miracle from God that he completely missed the simple human kindness that was right there in front of him. Okay, so from faith, let's move on to our next big theme, courage. What even is it really? Well, we can find the answer by connecting the wisdom of a great leader to the story of a tiny bird. Nelson Mandela gave us one of the best definitions of courage out there. It's not about being fearless. The brave person isn't someone who doesn't feel any fear. They're the one who looks that fear in the eye and beats it. And Mandela's words just come to life in this story about a young seagull. He's just sitting on a ledge, watching his brothers and sisters soar through the sky, while he's just paralyzed by fear. The seagull's parents, they try everything. They encourage him, they yell at him, they even threaten to let him starve. But nothing works. He's just too scared to jump. So then, his mother does something really clever. She flies near him holding a piece of fish, just out of his reach. He's so maddened by hunger that he lunges for the food and just tumbles off the ledge into thin air. For a second, pure terror takes over. But then, instinct kicks in. His wings spread out, the wind catches them, and suddenly, he's flying. He beat his fear, not because he wasn't afraid, but because something else, his hunger, was just a little bit stronger. So we've got faith that can be both a huge strength and a blind spot. And we have courage that isn't about being fearless, but about acting despite your fear. So let's bring this all back to you and the exam that's right around the corner. Lencho had a story. The young seagull had a story. And right now, in this moment, you are writing yours. This exam isn't just some test on a piece of paper. It's a brand new chapter in your own personal story. Your story is one of faith, not faith in a letter sent to the heavens, but faith in yourself and in all the hard work you've put in for months. It's a story of courage, not jumping off a cliff, but opening that exam booklet and facing those questions, triumphing over that fear of the unknown. This exam, it's your first flight. It's the moment you leap from the ledge of all your preparation into the wide open sky of your future. Okay, let's bring this all together. As you walk into that exam hall, I want you to carry one last thought with you. This is so much more than a test of memory or knowledge. It's really a test of your character. It's a test of your faith in your own abilities and your courage to just take that first step, to write that first word, and to see this thing through to the very end. And just like Magnus Carlsen said, remember this journey. This moment of challenge, this moment of growth, it's all yours. Find the little joys in it, that feeling of satisfaction when you solve a tough problem, the relief when you finish that last question. You need to own this experience. And remember that guiding principle. Always forward, never backward. You are ready for this. Good luck.